Hello everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel Easy Mathematics. Stay at home during this COVID-19 outburst to stay safe and healthy. Yes, I know this is what you don't want to listen anymore from anyone. So, can you tell me when everything becomes normal? No, no one have a definite answer, but so many predictions we have. If I say 25th June is the last day for all such restrictions, then it is a deterministic answer. Deterministic means by that answer you can have a planning and all that yes, 25th June is the last day of all such situations. But if I say it may be end of this year, then there is an uncertainty. And definitely you must not convince with me because my prediction may not be correct. It may take more or less time than that. In fact, for the same question, all you have the different predictions when the situation is same for all of us. That is, if an experiment is repeated under essentially homogeneous and similar conditions, we generally come across two types of situations. First, the result or the outcome is unique or certain, and other, the result is not unique but may have the several possible outcomes. So we have two type of situation. One is the deterministic situation and another one is the undeterministic situation or unpredictable or probabilistic situation. So deterministic situation if we have, then we have a certain answer, a particular value for the answer. But for the undeterministic situation or the probabilistic situations, we don't have such answer. So a numerical measure of uncertainty is provided by a very important branch of mathematics is called the theory of probability. This theory of probability, if broadly we discuss, then there are three possible states of expectation. These are certainty, impossibility, and uncertainty. The probability theory describes certainty by 1, impossibility by 0, and the various grades of uncertainty by the coefficients ranging between 0 and 1. So in this video, we are going to discuss about this unprobabilistic or the uncertainty situations, that is in mathematical term is called probability. So before definitely starting this probability, we should discuss some basic terms which are used in the definition of probability under different approaches. So the first definition is random experiment. An experiment or observation which may be repeated a large number of times under very nearly identical conditions, and the possible outcome of any particular observation is unpredictable, but all possible outcomes can be described prior to its performance is known as the random experiment. So what do you mean by the random experiment? So in a random experiment, we can do a experiment in almost identical conditions, and all its outcomes or whatever its outcome will be there, that is called the random experiment. So now if we toss a coin toss means a coin have two sides. One is said the head, another one is the tail. So if we toss a coin, then whatever be the number of times we can throw the coin, but our outcome is either it is head or it is tail. But in advance, we can't predict this outcome. So this type of experiment is called the random experiment. Instead of a coin, if we throw a die, then also we will have the same situation. If we throw a die, then there are total 6 faces. These are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Among these 6 faces, any one you may get. So in each time you throw a die, you will get a different cases, but this cases may be under the 1 to 6. You may get the outcome as a 1 to 6, not other than that. So this type of experiments, that means throwing a dice again and again, each throw is an experiment and its outcome is not predictable, but we can know that what may be the outcome. This type of experiments are called the random experiment. Next one is the outcome. What is outcome? So the result of a random experiment will be called an outcome. So if I throw a dice, then its outcome may be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6, any one. If I throw a coin, then also its outcome may be either head or tail. So each of these outcomes, each of these experimental values are called the outcome. Next, it is the sample space. So the set of all sample points, that is the set of all possible outcomes of a random experiment, is called the sample space. So for an example, if we throw a coin, then its all possible outcomes are either head or tail. So that the coin throwing, when we will toss a coin, then its sample space is S, it is denoted by S, and this sample space contains the value head and tail. If we throw a die, then its all outcomes are either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this all together creates the sample space for the dice. If a coin tossed twice, that means 2 times if we toss a coin, then what happened? Then it have total 4 different outcomes. That means in the first toss we might have a head, then in the second toss again we might have a head. So this is one of the set of outcome, that is head both the time. Otherwise you might get at the first toss it is head and the second it is the tail, or the reverse, that is in the first we get the tail and in the second we get the head. So, and finally what we can get? We can get in both the tosses the tail only. So that 4 different outcomes we will have for tossing a coin if we throw it 2 times. So these outcomes are either head head, then head tail, then tail head, and the tail tail for throwing a coin 2 times. The next definition is, it is the event, that is the most important thing for the probability. So what is event? Any subset of the sample space S of a random experiment is called an event. So what is event? Suppose this one is the sample space. From this sample space, if any particular samples or any particular values we will get as our experimental outcome, this entire set, like here it is A and B, is called the event. Here the event A we will get by the construction that all odd numbers by throwing a dice. So if all odd numbers we required by throwing a die as an event, then it should be 1, 3 and 5. Likewise, if our requirement is all the even numbers, then the event set should be 2, 4 and 6, because these are the only even number by throwing a die which we can get. Next, it is the trial. So what do you mean by the trial? Any particular performance of a random experiment is called a trial or a sample event. So any single tone subset of a sample space is called the trial for the particular sample space. That means any coin, suppose for example a coin is tossed and we know its sample space contains 2 points, one is head, another one is tail. Now if we throw the coin, then either we will get head or we will get the tail. So whatever be the outcome we will get, that is called the trial for a particular sample space. Now it is the certain or the sure event. So a sample space is a subspace of itself. We know any set is the subset of itself. So for sample space also the same thing will happen. So the sample space is a subset of itself, which is an event also. This event is called the certain event or the sure event. So what does it mean? That if we have the event as the all possible outcomes, then this is called the certain event. So getting an odd or even number on throwing a die. If our requirement is the getting an odd or even number on throwing a die, so odd or even, that means all numbers we have covered. So all the possible outcomes, that is 1, 3, 5 are the odd outcomes and 2, 4, 6 are the even outcomes. So all the 6 outcomes are considering here. That's why this will the event which we considered, which is same as the sample space, this is called the certain event. Next, it is the impossible event. An event that contains no sample points, that is a null subset of the sample space S, is called the impossible event. So it is very obvious that if your event space does not match the sample space, then definitely it is an impossible event that will not be happening. If we say that getting 7 when a die is thrown is a null event, then it is very obvious, because by throwing a dice we will definitely not get 7 by any chance. So if S is the sample space, then phi is the notation for the impossible event. So phi should be the subset of S, which is a null set or the impossible event. So these are the few definitions on probability. Definitely these are just the beginning. On our next video, we are going to discuss about their algebraic formulas or algebraic properties. So thank you now. Have a nice day.